Everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonating with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hertz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally, and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant based diet going for yourselves today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and to get with alkalinity, then you can generate some static electricity. Sending me some love telepathically, set attention to your mind and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to Great Days. So today I wanted to talk about practicing compassion, patience, and altruism. Okay, so let's get into this. Um, so patience, compassion, these are very, very, very fundamental, right? Because for one, without compassion, we can't sustain ourselves as a species. So we won't, or we aren't able to continue existing on a healthy level, right? If we aren't compassion at the core, and if we aren't compassion in our daily lives, then we begin to get sick because we pick up um, various different ailments psychosomatically due to the lack of compassionate frequency, right? Or compassion is a frequency or wavelength that is much stronger, much healthier than the wavelength that you would be in if you are in a cruelty, right? Or any type of lower vibrational behavior. So practicing compassion is something that is going to benefit you on many unseen levels because you aren't going to be able to see the with your two physical eyes everything that there is to be seen. So you would need to open the mind in order to be able to see multidimensionally what the beneficial shift of practicing compassion is going to bring, are going to come into your being, right? But anyway, practicing compassion is very it's very simple, right? So if you find yourself being cruel, or if you find yourself in conflict or whatever it may be, all that is needed is to bring in the awareness, and that's literally it. That's the start of it. All you got to do is put that little effort into to be aware of that state of conflict or cruelty or tension or whatever it is, and that in itself, just a little awareness or the consciousness that you bring into that is enough to dissolve away the lower vibration, because consciousness is the absolute. It's the higher vibration. Consciousness is unconditional. It's love, or it's bliss. So and it's omniscience. It's all knowledgeable. So when you're bringing in that awareness to the conflict, or to the denser, or the denser vibratory rates, which is like, let's say, cruelty, or or dishonesty or fear, any of these types of things, just applying the consciousness is shedding the light onto it, and then you're able to see what is there, instead of just getting caught in a reactive chain, a karmic chain, a reactive karmic chain, which you can cycle in, and then degrade as a person, and then slowly fall into suffering and attachment and things like this, and animal mindedness, but you can even learn from all that, right? Because everything is to be explored, and that's the only way to learn to experience all that is explored, you know. But you can definitely get caught in that, uh, and all that is really needed to be able to dissolve that is the uh, the application of consciousness, or consciousness itself. So if you find yourself in a cruel state, all you got to do is be aware of it, and that awareness is the light. That awareness is the light or vibration, is the omniscience, is the all knowledgeable, that is going to do what is needed to bring you into a higher vibrational state, or a state of compassion, which is the stronger force. Uh, Cruelty, or even fear, because this is what it is is a weakness, a cowardice, right? But we've all experienced this. So nobody's exclusive, but we're all included. So this allows us all to work on a mutual level through the morphic genetic field to help each other practice the compassion, right? And the deeper you go into compassion, you can get into altruism, which is being deeply compassionate to all beings, right? No matter what the being is, even if it's a plant, if it's an animal, if it's another person, if it's an elephant, if it's a clam, if it's anything, you're absolutely deeply compassionate towards that being, because they are a being. You're a being, you're a human being, a Homo sapien. That being is also a living being. Even non-living beings like rocks are also living beings, but their vibrating and their mortality rate, or their degradation level, whatever it is you want to call it, is just on another wavelength. So it's kind of you don't you don't look at a rock as a living being, because they're so far off from you as a living being, but it is a living being, and it is also in a like frequency, due to the fact that you are coexisting on the same dimension. So you got to the more deep you go into the compassionate state, you get into deeper dimensional awareness, and the mystical experiences behind that are going to allow you to connect with all living beings throughout the genetic fields, right? And this is going to allow you to translate the languages of other beings, no matter what they are. You're going to be able to translate the languages of plants. You're going to be able to translate the languages of animals, of amphibians, of minerals. You can speak all languages, because that's the power of omniscience, all knowledgeable consciousness. So all that is needed is the consciousness. So all you got to do is bring in more consciousness, and that's a raise of energy. All you got to do is raise the energy level, because energy and consciousness are one and the same. So if you raise the energy level, you raise the consciousness level, and if you're overflowing with consciousness, you're overflowing with omniscience, right? And practicing compassion is going to help you to raise your energy level. So that's why it's vital, and it's very fundamental. It's a fundamental domain. Compassion is a fundamental domain, because it allows us to generate more consciousness, which consciousness is the currency, right? That's the true currency. The universal currency is consciousness, right? So we need to generate. This is something that we can also generate for ourselves out of nothing, right? Still, see, we can do this with physical money as well. But there's a lot of conditions, right, that keep you from being able to just do it out of nothing, like laws of physics or laws that keep you from being able to do that type of stuff. But it can be done, right? Uh, if you get into the esoterics of it. So practicing compassion is going to help you to raise the energy level. If you raise the energy level, your consciousness level is going to raise. And if your consciousness level raise, the experience completely changes beyond the body, beyond the mind, into something that is universal. So you're literally able to have a universal experience. Um, the body and mind dissolve away completely, right? They continue. It continues to do what it does on the daily, on the normal. Nothing changes, but something drastic changes. There's a radical change, right? So the experience is dissolved away. The physical experience, right, or the bodily experience is dissolved away, but it kind of just carries on. It's normal thing, right? And it knows to align itself with the higher awareness or the universal geometries, which is yoga. It knows to align itself in order to keep that omniscience, which after experiencing the omniscience firsthand, the body obviously is intelligent then to know that that state of omniscience is the healthier thing for it, or is the investment, right? So then you kind of you manifold that investment, or you multiply that consciousness, right? You let it resonate within itself, which is a geometry. So you resonate within that consciousness, and it becomes more and more brighter, right? So then you're able to grow consciousness, and that's a transmutation. Uh, which if you can even find, let me see, you can literally become a source of energy like that, right? Um, and if you're a source of energy, you're going to find yourself in deeply compassionate states of being, because that's what it is. Consciousness is bliss, uh, because there's no ego involved in it, and the all conflict and all tension and all conflict and all tension and everything that is hurting anybody is coming from ego. Because if there was no body to be hurt, or there was no body to suffer, then if there's no body to suffer, then then you can't suffer, and that's why consciousness is bliss. Uh, so if the body is dissolved away, the bodily experience or the ego is dissolved away, and there's only consciousness, then there's no body to suffer, right? So then suffering ceases to be. It's very simple, right? So that's awesome. Um, hold up. So you got to invest in the compassion itself. That's all that is needed. Or you got to invest in the consciousness, right? So if you find yourself in a state of cruelty or anything, if you find yourself in a state of egoism or boundedness, meaning defining the boundary, over defining the boundaries, right? Or whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever it is that you want to identify lower vibrational states with, they can easily be dissolved away if you just be aware of them. So if in your daily life, if you find yourself getting overly angry for nothing, or you're being cruel to like animals or plants or insects or even another person for no reason at all, then just bring all you got to do is bring in awareness, and that little momentum is the quantum equation, or that little momentum is a quantum equation that's going to allow you to come into a higher consciousness and a higher empowerment, which that higher empowerment is deep compassion for all things, or a deep bliss, the deeper that you're able to go into it, right? So obviously you could feel the consciousness that was coming in for a bit. It's a fluctuate, right? Is how I have it right now, or is how it is right now. Uh, so compassion, altruism, patience. The reason I say patience is because uh, the whole it's a stage, right? The whole thing is a show. So the ego doesn't actually exist, but it likes to play that it does exist. So it's very paradoxical, right? And you're not going to really be able to explain it, but more so it wants you to experience it, right? Because life is the guru. uh Shiva, which is that which is not, right? The non-existent is the guru. So it already knows, um or it doesn't know, right? So instead of explaining it's an experience to be, right? To be, and not to be, right? Non-existence and existence. And within that is the tensioning of the opposite, the conflicts. And with awareness, that can be unified, and that unification is is a seed of compassion, or is compassion, because you come back into being, and being is compassionate, because being, there's no suffering in being, there's no conflict in being, right? All that comes with the ego, which the ego doesn't actually exist. So patience is the key for being able to sink into experience, or immersifying yourself into experience, right? So that's why you need the patience, right? It can happen over lifetimes. It can happen in one lifetime, but it's gonna happen in a moment, right? And then you're there for the eternal moment. Um, so the investment is awareness. Invest yourself in awareness, and that's all that is needed, right? The rest comes by itself, and that's literally it. That's compassion. It comes into you. It's already there, because the core of our being is compassion, and that's how we're sustaining things. That's how we're keeping things going. If we were absolutely cruel, and the core of our being was cruelty, then we wouldn't be able to survive, because we'd be at war with each other 24/7, and we would continuously be killing each other to the point where we wouldn't be able to exist, right? Which is a dimension. It's happening, right? But the core of the being is compassion, is nature, so things are able to be sustained and continued, right? The continuum, continuity. So let me see. So that's patience. You need the patience for experiencing without knowing or without explanation or anything, just to experience things firsthand, so that you can because that's the guru, you know, which is life itself. uh then there's what is it, there's patience, compassion. Compassion is the core of being. It's a state of self-realization. It's a state of bliss, right? We're all in bliss because we're all that there is, which is also non-existence. And since nothing exists, then there's nothing to suffer. There's nothing to attach to. And due to that reality, because it's not a philosophy but a reality, is is the liberation, right? Which is a state of self-realization, which is consciousness, because realization is being able to see something. When I realize something, I've seen it, I've experienced it. So self-realization is awareness, which awareness is an experience, consciousness, you know, eyes, because you're able to see. Uh, and then altruism is like a way, right? It's a way of being. Altruism is being compassionate, deeply compassionate to all, and that's it. Or you're all true, honesty, truthfulness. Honesty is the only way to be, because lies don't exist. When you're telling a lie, you can easily see through the lie, right? So a lie is just truth spoken in a fear, but it can easily be seen. So the lies don't actually exist, right? Uh, but all there is truth. So when you come to that realization that all is truth, and you start living absolutely truthful and honest, then compassion, self-realization easily come, right? And consciousness, because consciousness is the ultimate truth, and that's altruism. You start treating everything, no matter what it is, even if it's a rock, with absolute truthfulness, absolute compassion, right? There's a reason why you want to say there's a reason why you're attacking an insect, right? The reason is coming from some type of source, which you gotta follow the rootings. If you follow the rootings, then you can kind of see the various different causes, or you can see the designs of the rooting systems, right? And why you're reacting so strongly on point to a an insect or anything that you're just snapping, and like killing it. So if you're all true, then you can shed more light on things, and if you're able to pierce that little moment where you're reacting to whatever it is that you're harming, or whatever it may be, then you can make a fluency of that, and you can kind of bring that down, right? The reaction, because the reaction is the karma, the reaction is the conflict, is the entanglement. The karma is the ego, right? Or egoic at the least. Uh, but you can learn from all that. Once again, the Dharma, you can learn from your experience of life, right? Getting caught in the cycles, you can learn from this until you're able to make larger and larger leaps into higher and higher realms, uh, until you are able to traverse omnidimensionally, and you're completely liberated from from existence, non-existence, things like this, right? Um, so invest in compassion, right? The one move that you want to make is applying awareness. Apply awareness or bring in awareness when you feel that compassion is needed within yourself. So all you got to do is watch yourself a little bit more and then bring in awareness, and then compassion sprouts because the light is the nourishing, is the water, you know, to grow the seed. So I do thank everybody for watching. Once again, peace out, one love, and have a great evening.